We'll go ahead and get this started. So, hello, my name is Lynette Rogenbuck. I work part time as a writer. I write primarily short fiction, sci fi, fantasy, working on a novel. I send my short fiction stories to magazines. They're the ones that pay for my stories. They're easy enough to find through websites that act as search engines for submission calls. Submittable, Submission Grinder is the one I use. Duotrope is another one. Most writers are not going to support themselves solely by writing. Being like a J.K. Rowling or Stephen King is not super common. So, like, I have a second job that doesn't involve writing to pay bills and get by, but like, I do get paid some for my writing. The other thing you can do is if you want to be kind of more exclusive in like the writing industry, is you can work for like a publisher as like an editor or copy editor where they go through and work with the author after they've been accepted, or they'll actually accept the novels that the publisher wants to publish, and they'll fix them up, deal with like the grammar, any kind of plot hole problems. You can work as a literary agent who represent the different novels sent in by authors and try to get them published at the various publishing companies. The best way to get started, first thing you want to do is you want to write a lot. Just like any like sport or activity, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And everybody starts out terrible. Like, don't feel self-conscious about it at all. Every author has what they call like trunk novels, where like they wrote a novel and it was good at the time, but then they put it in the trunk, never looked at it again because they realized it was not as good as they thought. It's everyone goes through it, don't worry about it. You just use that novel to write a better second novel. Like, I think Brandon Sanderson is a really popular fantasy author, and he wrote 13 trunk novels before he ever got to a point where he could have a published work. So don't feel self-conscious about it. Just go ahead and write. The key to writing a good story is writing a ton of terrible stories. It's how it goes. Writing short stories can especially help if you want to later do novels, because it helps you learn to focus on the words that are needed and cut out any kind of excess wordage or repeat words, sentences that are too long. The other thing you want to do is you want to research. Learning new things keeps your writing like fresh, gives you like different perspectives. You want to go through and look for websites that will help you write better. There's quite a few of these you can access for free. Writer's Digest is a big one. There's a podcast called Writing Excuses, that has Brandon Sanderson, Dan Newell, and Mary Robinette Kowal. They're all really good authors, all famous, or I don't know, famous, but well published authors. If you have writing groups in your area, I completely recommend that. They're going to give you lots of in-person feedback where you can actually sit and like ask your fellow writers, how does this like paragraph come across? How does like my sentence structure read? What parts you did or didn't like? And they can give you in-person feedback. And these authors are very kind. I've never had any kind of negative experience. Everyone's out there, they're all in the same struggle you are. They're willing to be supportive, and they'll understand like the struggles you're going through. I wouldn't get too pushy, like if you do have like a novel or book coming out, of like demanding people buy it. Just like with anything, people don't like it shoved down their faces. But if you're just like, hey, I got this book published, support me if you can. Really glad to like hit this step in my writing career, and everyone will be like, oh yeah, so great. And a few of them will buy it, a few of them won't. It's not something like I'd worry too much about. Also, having like a big social media presence can be like a big positive to your publishers and your literary agent, if you choose to have one. Just because you already have a bunch of people that you can reach all at once, whether they're able to buy the book or not, it's kind of like a built-in platform. It's not required before you like publish if you go through the traditional publisher, but it's also not really a negative. You can try self-publishing. That's a little more tricky. The big difference between self-publishing and traditional publishing is self-publishing, you do all the work yourself. Traditional publishing, you're giving up more profit for everyone else doing things like designing the cover, marketing the book, setting up interviews to promote for promotion. So it kind of depends on where you want to go with that. Let's see. The last thing I want to touch on is the topic of college degrees. There's a lot of different opinions on this. Some people say you need it, some people say you don't. My advice would be, and this is just my personal experience / opinion, is if you solely want to write fiction, you don't need the college degree. There's lots of free advice out there that you can get, and it really helps improve your writing. You don't need the degree just to like write a good novel or a good short story. If you want to do something like become a literary agent or an editor, then you might need the college degree. You may not need to go to the level of like fine arts, but or a master of fine arts. You could probably get away with a bachelor's and then intern at like a publishing company. But just the fiction writer, you don't need. Okay, I hope this was helpful for you guys. Ask your teacher if you have any questions, and I will follow up on anything you guys have. Have a good day. Enjoy your school.